If you want to succeed in anything in life, I don't care what it is, you have to be consistent because there is or are going to be days when you don't want to get out of bed. You're not motivated to do anything.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. It is me, Lisa. I have back with me again today Susan Larimer, who is going to be our resident guest here. And we also have with us Paige. And Paige, I wanted you to jump in and just tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and all that stuff.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Lisa and Susan. You two are two of my faves, and I really appreciate being here. So, my name is Paige Swenson. I am an attorney. I own my own business. I have my brand, and I am a triathlete. I live in Denver, Colorado, with my husband and our two English Black Labs named Cav and Duke. We do not have children, so Cav and Duke are my children. Love them to death. I wouldn't know what to do without my dogs. I'm sure all the dog owners out there will understand that. Um, so yeah, I've been an attorney for 26 and a half years. Worked for the federal government. That is coming to an end in 2 days on Friday. I am one of those people who was impacted by the administration's changes. And as a result, I took their offer of a deferred resignation and early retirement. I did that because I was only 4.5 years away from a full retirement. And if I were to get separated from my job, I would lose all of my retirement benefits. And I wasn't willing to risk that for me and my husband. It just wasn't an option. So, yeah, like I said, my last day's Friday. I am currently on a job search, looking for other jobs. I've been in labor relations for those 26 and a half years. And so I'm looking for jobs that are either labor relations attorney positions or positions such as director of labor relations for companies.
Awesome.
Um, so yeah, with my business, I got involved in direct sales in November of 2019, and I have really expanded a lot since then. I'm no longer with the companies that I started with, and I have created my own brand, Mountain Flair and Fitness. Right now, I am a Nu Skin affiliate. I've been a Nu Skin affiliate for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Absolutely love it and building on that. Using my website and social media to help build on that. And my triathlon life, I'm a 13-time Ironman finisher, including the Ironman World Championships in Kona. I did that in 2023. I've raced more half Ironman races than I could possibly count, including two half Ironman World Championships. Most recently, in December, last December, I raced in Taupo, New Zealand, which I'm going to give a plug for New Zealand. If your listeners have never been there, go. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, your life sounds amazing.
I ran a marathon once. Yeah. I walk every day.
I'm just getting tired thinking about what all Paige just said. So,
So
well,
now you can
Fair.
understand why we chose Paige as our topic with about discipline, because Paige, you are probably the most disciplined person I know. And you post on social media what you're doing at 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm waking up at 7 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, look what Paige did, and I had coffee. You're just incredible.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
and all the things, and Paige is amazing to watch too. Like when you find out what her social media is, follow her because she has her, what do you call it, your racing updates, and she shares all about her racing, the ups and the downs and all the things about it. She's just a fascinating person to follow.
Thank you. I appreciate
Wow.
that, Susan.
So tell us what a typical day looks like for you, because I know when I wake up and I go on social media, like I said, I see you swimming laps and riding your bike, and it's amazing to me how you fit in a full-time job, direct sales, and your training in a 24-hour period. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, honestly, Susan, I don't know how I do it either. But I tell you what, I found with doing all of this, there's a lot of wasted time during a day that you
Uh,
really can use to be productive. So to answer your question, I'm normally up at 5:30, sometimes earlier. It depends what I'm doing. When I'm training for an Ironman, oftentimes I have, and when I say Ironman, I'm going to explain that for your listeners. That's a
yeah.
2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon, 26.2 mile run. That requires a lot of training. That in and of itself is a part-time job, 20 hours of training, 25 sometimes at peak. So that requires two workouts in a day. So I will get up before 5 because my gym opens at 5, and if I have to do a workout then, I do it then. What I normally will do, if I don't have to do a workout in the morning, I will get up at 5:30. I will dedicate from like 6 to 8 for my direct sales business, and then I do my attorney job. And lunchtime, I will do some direct sales if I need to do something like maybe write a blog or craft an email or something like that. And then I generally work my attorney job anywhere between 3 and 4. Then I go back to training for another uh, hour and a half. Again, depends what I'm focusing on, and then dinner and chill with the husband after that. And I am in bed, sound asleep by 9 o'clock.
That's amazing.
That sounds like a lot. Yes, a lot. And I wish, yeah, I'm sitting there with Susan when she says, yeah, drinking your coffee at around 7. It's like I couldn't imagine a 5 o'clock alarm bell. I think I would be going a little bit cuckoo if I had to wake up at that time for some reason. I'm a night owl, right? So I'm up until like 11, 12 o'clock at night. So totally opposite than you, Paige, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
apparently. I haven't seen 12 o'clock at night in probably 20 years, Lisa.
Oh
So
my gosh.
seriously. But like you ladies, I am powered by coffee.
So have you always been this discipline? Like has swimming and athletics, has that always been a part of your life?
Yes, yes. I grew up as a swimmer. I
Okay.
started competitive swimming when I was 8. And yes, to be a successful competitive swimmer requires 2 a days. So I would be in the pool, Lord, 5:30 to 7:30, if I'm remembering. It was a long time ago, in the morning, and then school all day, and then afternoon practice from 3 till 5:30 ish. So yes, I have always gotten up early, done my thing, and I think that's why it still is ingrained in me, because I did it from age 8. Well, I didn't start 2 days at 8, let's be real. 10 to, through college, through my sophomore year in college. So it's just what I do.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even think about it anymore. It just sort of happens. Like I don't need an alarm clock. I'm awake.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting how that happens, how your body adapts to
Mhm.
functioning a certain way, and then it just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know that it takes like, I mean, there's going to be some days that you're going to wake up that you're not motivated.
Some,
Some, yes.
a
And
lot.
and we all are like that, right? So we want some of your tips. Like how do you stay that disciplined when you wake up not motivated?
Honestly, it's not about motivation. I it's what is key is consistency. If you want to succeed in anything in life, I don't care what it is, you have to be consistent. Because there is or are going to be days when you don't want to get out of bed. You're not motivated to do anything. So, and I've learned that. I mean, I'm in the throes of Ironman training. I don't even know my name. Like I am so tired and just so done. But I know in order to meet my goals, I got to do the work. So I stay consistent. I don't. I mean, it is discipline, yes, but again, I think that comes from being a swimmer. Swimming is such an insane sport. I often analogize it to gymnastics. Swimmers and gymnasts do about the same type of work as far as their training and the rigors that the sport requires of both athletes. I don't think there's harder working athletes on the planet. So when you grow up doing something like that and it's something you love, which I totally love swimming. It destroyed my shoulders, but hey,
Mm-hmm.
um, I it's not really a matter of thinking about it. It's just like I said earlier, my body just does it. And because my direct sales business means the world to me. I mean, if it weren't for my direct sales business, I wouldn't know you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the community that it has brought to me is more important than anything else, which is why I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that I have this community behind me to help me because I have a similar community with triathlon, right? I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be where I am as an athlete if I didn't have my team and my teammates. So it's kind of the same thing. It drives me to do it because I love the people that I'm surrounded by. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a
much.
really good point. I mean, everything is so much, it's better and it's stronger with that support team, with the people around you. I think that's a really good point. Would you do this like if you were by yourself in direct sales or doing your racing? Would you do it?
Well, I would because I do most of my training by myself.
Okay.
There are certain things that I do with other people, like on the weekends, I will ride my bike with my teammates or other friends, but I do most of my running and most of my swimming by myself. So yeah, I don't think I'd have a problem with that. I do if I'm being if I'm being honest, my direct sales business would probably that no. My direct sales business would not be where it
Mm-hmm.
is right now if it weren't for the community, both inside New Skin and with the Modern Direct Seller Academy. No
Mm-hmm.
doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so how do you balance? How do you manage your energy between full-time job, training, and direct sales business? I mean, you talked about the hours, like is it just a schedule that balances you? How do you switch like mentally into each one?
That's a great question. Um, Again, I think it's not difficult for me because I enjoy it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a it's not like a death march like it is sometimes opening my computer, right? And starting work as, in my attorney job. Yeah, there's days where I'm
Yeah,
like, I can't do this.
yeah.
But I do think it's because I enjoy it and it's something that I want to do and it's something let me say this. So as an attorney, I'm trained to do a thing, right? I'm trained to evaluate facts and case law and make recommendations. When I got into direct sales, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I always said to myself, like somewhere in the back of my head, I can't do this. I'm not a salesperson. Like this is way outside my comfort zone. And it took me probably 2 years to get over that. And getting over that has made me such a better person because I now know that getting outside your comfort zone is so important as a human to grow and to learn and again to be better to just be a better person and I mean triathlon did that to me as well but maybe not as much because I was always an athlete and it was just like a natural progression of things
Yeah.
even though slightly insane, I admit it. But yeah, my direct sales business has really expanded who I am and what I'm capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a long-winded way of saying how do I manage it? It's really it's not hard because again, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I have seen the growth in myself and the experiences that I've had and the connections that I have made with people as a result of it.
And you're willing to be uncomfortable physically when you're training is not comfortable. And then mentally and socially, you push yourself out of your comfort zone.
It's funny that you say that because I know you guys were going to ask me this later, but I'm going to say it now. You wanted to know what my favorite quote is. I'm
Yeah.
going to get this tattooed on my arm. It is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm,
When I am in the midst of a hard workout, and I want to quit and I want to slow down, I don't want to push a certain pace or a certain watts on the bike. I literally will say out loud to myself, no, Paige, no, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Suck it up and do it. And that, I mean, that's what I say when I do my direct sales stuff. If I don't want to, send a message to a friend and say, hey, are you interested in these products? Like if I'm feeling about that, I'm like, no, get comfortable being uncomfortable because your uncomfortableness is what makes you grow and what makes you stronger. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a great result out of it. You are stressing yourself. When I say you, I mean me. I am stressing myself out more about sending a stupid message than the person who's going to receive it. You know what I
right.
mean? The person who's
Mm-hmm.
going to receive it is like, oh, hey, Paige, so nice to hear from you. Blah, 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 and here I am on the other side of it going, oh God, do I want to send this? Oh no, do I want to sound salesy or cheesy or, it's, yeah. So that's my mantra. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that.
Awesome. Okay, I want to circle back to your talk about consistency for a second because I want to know what one piece of advice you can give to somebody that is in direct sales right now struggling with being consistent. Because you said you're not necessarily motivated, you follow like a consistency rule.
I think the best thing to do, and I know people say this all the time, but for me, because I'm so type A, it works, is time blocking. If I can have a planner and I know, because our direct sales businesses are complicated, right? We're going in a gazillion different directions at once. But we've also learned that we can use one piece of information that we know our customers will love and we can put it in different areas, right? We can do a social media post, we can do an email, we can do a blog, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So what I like to do is take a calendar and plan my time. Like I said, maybe 6 to 7:30 I'm gonna write 2 blogs, or I'm going to, for let's say, from 6 to 6:30 I'm going to scroll Instagram and find inspiration for reels, and I'm going to save those reels, and I'm going to come up with a caption for one of them. And I just take that and then I say, okay, maybe if I come back at lunch, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take that reel and I'm going to find a piece of B-roll that I've done and I'm going to attach it to the reel and I'm going to save it. And then maybe later that afternoon, I'll come back to it after I'm done training and review it and then boom, post it. And then the next day, I'll make myself a note, okay, write a blog about what you said in this reel. I think if I write it down and I can see it on paper or on a computer, wherever someone's planner may be, for me, checking off that little box gives me that consistency.
And do you plan out your weeks at the beginning of the week, or do your weeks look the same all the time, or how does that usually work for you?
That's a good question. I probably should be better at planning out my weeks in advance. And I think now that my federal job has come to an end, I'm going to do that. I will take a calendar and go Monday through Friday and do what I need to do, whether it be reels or creating an offer for a particular product that we're focusing on, or emails or blogs. And yes, I that is one thing I actually thought of this morning was, okay, what am I going to do next week to make the best use of this 8 hours that I now have that I never had before?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I mean, I think I'm also becoming more consistent with my emails. Like I just started my email marketing campaign in January.
Hmm.
And so that's something I need to dedicate more time to, Lisa. So I will plan out my email crafting every week because I want to do an email once every 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So I will definitely have those ideas written down and reels ideas. And again, trying to combine them. I think that's a good way for people to, again, to go back to not reinventing the wheel. So it's easier to be consistent because you have that information at your fingertips and you can just boom, put it over here or change it up and put it in an Instagram story or whatever. I think that's super important for people is to not feel like they have to continuously reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hear a lot of like overlap between discipline and consistency. So do you think people can learn to be disciplined and consistent, or do you think it's something you're just born with?
Both. I honestly think I was born with it, which is why I was so successful at swimming
Yeah.
and why I continue to be such a successful athlete. But I also think you can learn it. And again, I think it goes back to you have to be doing something that you love.
Mm,
I don't know how someone can be consistent at doing something if they don't really enjoy it.
yeah, I
Because let's
agree.
face it, I mean, our direct sales businesses are like roller coasters, right? Some months are fantastic, some months are awful. And how do we get through that awful period? Consistency, right?
Yeah.
Discipline, and more importantly, the appreciation of our customers. The fact that we care so much about our customers and we want to be here for them.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what drives me because the minute I get oh, Paige, thank you. That was so helpful. That's exactly the product I needed. That will drive me for months.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I don't
Oh,
know if
it
that
does.
resonates with
It
Yeah.
people.
does. Yeah,
And I
for
think
sure.
that's the relationship piece that has to be there in business, in training. I mean, the relationships that we have with our customers and our teammates and, the Modern Direct Seller Academy that we're all a part of, that to me is what keeps me going. The relationships always.
Yes, same. And it's funny as I've grown older, that's become much more important to me.
Yeah.
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 10 years ago, I don't think I would have answered the question in the same way I just answered it.
Yeah. And I think we always say, our customers need to know, like, and trust us. And just as we need to know, like, and appreciate them. Right. So,
Oh, 1,000%. Yes.
yeah. All right. So I think, Paige, we need to know where we can find you because we've heard all this stuff. So where do you live on that World Wide Web?
Well, my Instagram is Paige A. Swenson. So it's my first name and then my middle initial A, Swenson. And my Oh My High site is paigeswenson.com. It's
And we'll make sure we link those in the show notes too. So,
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
all right, ladies. Well, I appreciate both of you joining us for this episode, and I know that our listeners are going to take away a lot of ahas and just have their jaws dropping at listening to what you accomplish in a day, Paige, because you truly are an amazing woman. I mean, I yeah, I just need to be like Paige.
Need a little piece of
Uh,
Paige.
Alrighty. Well,
you guys are too kind. Thank you.
and again, thank you guys, and we look forward to seeing the listeners back on another episode of The Other 99% next week. We'll take care, everyone. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.